Have you ever wished you could turn back time? Just for a moment, to fix a mistake, to say something you left unsaid, or to take a chance you let slip by. In the sleepy town of Valenwood, nestled deep within a valley of whispering pines, stood a clock tower that did more than just tell time. It held the town's deepest regrets. Every night, precisely at midnight, the old clock tower in Valenwood struck 13 times. The townsfolk would shutter their windows and pull their blankets tight. "It's haunted," they'd whisper. "Cursed," others would say. They spoke of a ghost trapped within its gears, a phantom of time itself. But for a young boy named Elias, whose heart was filled with more curiosity than fear, the 13 chimes were not a warning, but an invitation. One moonless night, while the rest of Valenwood slept, Elias slipped out of his small cottage. The cobblestone streets were empty, and the air was thick with a silence that felt older than the town itself. The clock tower loomed over him, a dark silhouette against a sea of stars. Its stone walls were covered in ivy, and its single, great clock face seemed to watch him like a giant, unblinking eye. Taking a deep breath, he pushed open the heavy oak door at its base. It groaned in protest, a sound that hadn't been heard in decades. Inside, the air was cold and musty, smelling of dust and forgotten memories. A spiral staircase, carved from the same dark stone as the tower walls, wound its way up into the darkness. Elias lit a small lantern, its warm glow pushing back the shadows, and began to climb. The steps were worn smooth by time, and with each one he felt a strange pressure, as if he were walking not just upward, but backward through the years. He climbed and climbed, the silence broken only by his own footsteps and the frantic beating of his heart. Finally, he reached the top. He found himself in a vast, circular chamber, the heart of the clock tower. Dominating the room was a breathtaking mechanism of gears, pendulums, and levers, all frozen in place. But they weren't made of ordinary metal. They glowed with a faint, ethereal light, pulsing like a slow, sleeping heart. And then he heard it. A voice, not from any corner of the room, but from the very air around him. It was a whisper, a chorus of echoes. "Fix the time," it sighed. "Fix the town." As Elias stepped closer, he saw that the gears weren't just machinery. Etched onto the surface of each glowing cog were scenes, like tiny, moving paintings. He saw a young woman turning away from a proposal, her face a mask of fear. He saw a father shouting harsh words at his son, words that hung in the air like poison. He saw a baker who dreamed of being a painter, putting his brushes away for the last time. Each gear was a moment of regret, a broken promise, a lost chance. These were the collective sorrows of Valenwood, the moments that had thrown its time out of balance, causing the 13th strike. The voice whispered again, guiding him. Every moment can be mended. Elias understood. He had to reset the gears. He reached for the first one, the scene of the heartbroken father and son. The gear was cold to the touch. With all his might, he began to turn it, slowly, carefully, backward as the gear moved. The scene within it flickered and changed. The father's angry face softened. He pulled his son into an embrace, and the harsh words dissolved into whispers of apology. A wave of warmth washed over Elias, and he felt a single tear roll down his cheek. He moved to the next gear and the next. He saw the young woman run back to the man who had proposed, her face now bright with hope. He saw the baker pick up his brushes again, a smile spreading across his face as he daubed a canvas with vibrant color. With each gear he turned, Elias felt the town's history shifting. He was not erasing the past, but healing it. He was mending the broken threads in the tapestry of Valenwood's story. It was exhausting work. The gears fought against him, heavy with the weight of years of regret. But Elias pushed on, driven by the echoes of hope he felt with each turn. He worked through the night, his small lantern casting a lonely light in the vast chamber. The sorrows of an entire town passed through his hands. He mended friendships torn apart by pride, dreams abandoned out of fear, and love lost to misunderstanding. He felt the whiteness of its release. He was fixing more than just a clock. He was fixing hearts. Finally, as the first hint of dawn painted the eastern sky in shades of rose and gold, he turned the last gear. The entire mechanism whirred to life. The gears began to tick in perfect harmony, their ethereal glow fading into the burnished brass of a normal clock. The pendulums swung in a steady, reassuring rhythm. A profound peace settled over the chamber. The chorus of whispers fell silent, replaced by a single, clear voice that said, "Thank you." Down below, in the town of Valenwood, something miraculous was happening. The baker woke with an inexplicable urge to paint, his heart feeling lighter than it had in years. The father and son, estranged for so long, found themselves knocking on each other's doors at the exact same moment, ready to forgive. People all over town woke with a sense of peace they couldn't explain, a feeling that old wounds had finally closed. The heavy blanket of regret that had unknowingly smothered the town for generations had been lifted. As the sun crested the horizon, the great clock in the tower began to chime. 1, 2, 3, all the way to 12. A perfect, resonant 12. The curse, the haunting, was broken. The people of Valenwood threw open their windows, not in fear, but in celebration of the beautiful, clear sound. But of Elias, there was no sign. He was gone. Vanished as mysteriously as he had arrived. When the mayor and a few brave townsfolk finally climbed the tower, they found the clockwork ticking perfectly. The dust was gone, the air was fresh, and the only trace of the night's visitor was a small, folded note left on the windowsill, looking out over the revitalized town. It read, "Every moment can be mended. We dare to climb." Valenwood never forgot the boy who fixed their time. The clock tower became a symbol not of a curse, but of hope. It reminded them that the past doesn't have to define the future, and that it's never too late to make things right. And sometimes, on a quiet night, if you listen very closely, you can almost hear a whisper on the wind, a reminder that the courage to face our regrets is the most powerful magic of all. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into Valenwood. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tales of magic and mystery. Let me know in the comments what you thought, and I'll see you in the next video.